Hello, good morning, students. I am your English teacher, Miss Faiza. How are you? Hope you and your family is good. We are back with another English class, and today we are going to learn another very interesting topic. And this topic is narrative essay writing. Are you ready? Let's get started. Here we have our lesson objectives. In the first part, we will be covering theoretical side of narrative essay writing. Our lesson objectives are to answer basic questions like what is a narrative essay? Why is it called narrative? What are the elements? And later in the class, we will be discussing what is the structure and format of narrative essay. What sort of language do we need to use? Some examples to understand better, and lastly, few do's and don'ts of narrative essay writing. Our learning plate is a bit full today, but we will manage it within our time and still enjoy it. So stay focused and keep enjoying. I have a quick question for you. What are the three common types of essay writing? You have 3 seconds to think and answer. Yes, most of you are correct. Commonly written essays are narrative essay, descriptive essay, and argumentative essay. Let's go back to our original question, which was, what is a narrative essay? Narrative essay is a form of essay where the writer gives a detailed account of an incident or event. Narrative essay is storytelling of an actual happening. The whole story revolves around a central point, and the writer records his or her personal experience in vivid and enthusiastic manner. To the left of your screen, you will be seeing 3 pictures. First picture is a scene of an accident. Second picture is a scene where people are looking at a painting in an art gallery. Third picture looks like a hill station. If you are asked to write about details of the accident, or visit to the museum, or a memorable visit to a hill station, all these topics will be written in narrative form and will be categorized as narrative essays. Let's have a quick look at the reason of naming our essay as narrative essay. The reason is that there is a more formal word for sharing details of an incident or event, and that formal word is narrate. Narrate is a verb. An adjective of this word is narrative. So we add narrative before an essay, and in a formal way, we call it narrative essay. Narrate means give a spoken or written account of. We can conclude that storytelling of an actual event or incident is called narrative essay. A good narrative essay has several characteristics. First and foremost is emotion and creativity. The writer is expected to be attached with the subject emotionally and should be bold and loud in the expression. Narrative writing is sharing experience, so if the writer is sharing his or her own personal experience, then the essay will be written in first person. Example, if topic is most memorable field trip, here you will be writing about experience and one of the sentences will be, I enjoyed the cool and soothing breeze at the side of our field trip. Or, I was excited to see beautiful mountains. Or, we enjoyed breathtaking scenery during our long and tiring walk. If you are asked to write someone else's experience, then the essay will be written using third person. Example, your friend's most memorable trip. Now, you will use the sentences in the third person. Example, he enjoyed the cool and soothing breeze at the side of their field trip. Or he was excited to see beautiful mountains. Or they enjoyed breathtaking scenery during our long and tiring walk. Once you have started the essay based on your topic, you need to make sure that the pronoun is applied consistently throughout the writing. There can be no story without a hero and other characters. Then these characters need space to operate. The space is called plot. The story runs through a time sequence and reaches its climax followed by an ending. So students, the class is getting interested. How many of you think so? Raise your hands who are still attentive. Oh, sorry, I cannot see you. Okay, it's time to move forward. Having laid the plot, characters along with the purpose, now comes the narration itself. It is important that the sequence of events should be logical and in line with the actual incident. Here let's learn a new term for arrangement of events in order of their occurrence, and the term is chronology. Chronology is the perspective of literature that refers to the arrangement of events in sequential order. Event narration should refer to the side time sequence in the story. Important aspect to keep in mind is that sequence is not correct, then the writer has to comprise the logic and flow of writing. Of course, you would not want to do that. Flashback technique is a way to avoid this. This is actually a recall in the writer's mind. Once the scene has been recalled, the writer takes the reader through the scene. Let me also share an ancillary information with you. Chronology also refers to a list that has chronological arrangement. You can see this list at the end of most of the non-fiction books. Lastly, remember to use correct tense to the corresponding time in your essay. So far, we have covered 4 characteristics of narrative essay. Now is the time to discuss 2 aspects that will make your essay sound real and correct. One is the authenticity of your characters, and the other one is the dialogue realism. Based on the topic and the reader's past experience, the reader is expected to have a vague and abstract idea of the story. Now, you have to make sure that you write only the authentic characters with realistic dialogue. This will enable the reader to relate to your essay and still not have conflict with his expectations. Lastly, we will talk about the tone of a narrative essay. Tone of this essay is expected to be loud and enthusiastic. The details that you have in your mind based on your sensory experience, the incident have to be expressed in full detail with emotional, enthusiasm, and aesthetically appealing tone. Now, we wrap up the session of our today's lecture with the recap. Narrative essay is expected to have several elements, and the essay should flow in order with beautiful, relatable language. Remember, you are the narrator of your own or someone else's real story or experience. Now we will look into the way in which something is arranged or set out. In other words, we will now look at the format of narrative writing. I will explain the format through narrative arc. The narrative arc comprises of 5 components. Number 1, exposition. It is the introduction of your story with the background information. 2, rising action. It is the moment when conflict appears, a trigger that creates tension. 3. Climax. It's the main event of your story, the height of tension. 4. A falling action. It's the result of the choice, that moment of conflict resolution. 5. And the last, resolution. It's the conclusion of your story with a moral or a point. If I have to look with the format, therefore, exposition will lie under your introduction. In your body part, you will discuss about the three components that will be the rising action, your climax, and the falling action. And in your conclusion, you will discuss about the resolution of your whole article. Now, let's move to an example. For instance, our topic is most memorable day of my life. After knowing my topic, I will grab my pencil and start doing brainstorming by making a web diagram. In the center, I will write my topic. On the sides, I will write WH questions such as who, when, what, and where. And after these subheadings, we'll start answering by writing one word related to it. Therefore, my brainstorming will be done and I will be ready to move to my essay writing. Here, I would like to continue the same topic. That was most memorable day of my life. Here, I have given you an introduction of how you could begin your essay writing. I am giving you 30 seconds to read and then I will explain you through it. Well, I hope you must have read it. After reading the introduction, you will see that the writer was able to grab your attention. He therefore explained the background of the place that he was, or which was the exact place that turned out to be the most memorable day for his life. And he even gave a statement by saying that it was the happiest day of his life. And remember in my previous slides where I discussed about the narrative arc. The narrative arc's 5 components that we discussed, the first component that I discussed was exposition. And therefore, that exposition will be applied here. I hope you're able to understand the introduction. Now, let's go to the body part. Here, I am providing you another example, but it is a continuity of the same topic. I'm giving you some seconds to kindly go through it. Well, I hope that you must have read it, remembering that this is a body. And as I mentioned before as well, that we will be keeping the narrative arc in our mind. If I look at it, I did mention that in our narrative arc, there are 3 components that we are going to be discussing in the body. That is the rising action, the climax, and the falling action. And here you're able to find 3 of them, where he raised the action by saying that what time was there in the morning and how the jackets were getting affected. And in the climax, he's actually discussing about the thunder. And then a falling action comes when he stated to talk about the flowers. Therefore, in our body part, what we are actually doing is we are developing, we are supporting, and we are explaining and proving our statements from the introduction and our topic more furtherly. Now, let's move on to the conclusion. Here is a paragraph. Kindly read it and then we will discuss about it. I'm giving you some seconds. I hope you must have read it. Looking at the conclusion, you will see how the writer went right back to his topic. He actually related back in his conclusion that what was the memorable day and how and what things that he did that turned out to make his day memorable. He even summarized his whole concept, his ideas, his main body and introduction, and he summarized it into conclusion and told how it happened. And in the end, he gave his concluding statement, which stated the trip to Ooty was definitely one of the most memorable ones in my life. There was a concluding statement. And remembering the last part of the narrative arc, that was the resolution. Here is the resolution or the moral that turned his day into the best day. And after, when you're done with the conclusion date, and then your essay ends. In part of our lesson, I would like to share a summary of common mistakes and omissions omitted during a narrative essay writing. Please make sure to include the do's in your essays and avoid the don'ts. Let's begin with do's. As already discussed in our previous slides, first impression remains important. Start off with energy and try to engage the reader from the beginning. Narrative essay is to be written in first person or third person. The narrator should provide all the relevant information required during the incident or event. Writing should be clear and engaging and exciting, and events should be written in correct sequence and in compliance with the format already discussed in detail in today's lecture. Now, let's quickly go through the don'ts slang never to be used in any essay. Do remember you are not writing argumentative essay. No arguments, please. Avoid second person and utilize the actual events in correct sequence. Do not write fictional stories. So, we are done for today. And just for your listening, please let me share a quote. You can make anything by writing. Let's go back and try to internalize the quote. Good luck again, and thank you so much.